Well, good morning, everybody, from beautiful downtown sunny Chagrin Falls on this crisp, cool morning. My name's John Hall, and welcome to Accessorizing the Kitchen. We'll spend the next half hour to 45 minutes going through all the accessories. We've come a long way. You know, people that this is the last of the winter series. We've had a lot of fun, hopefully. And what we're going to do is at 9:30, the second half of the doubleheader is designing the home office. So we've been through a lot. We talked about cabinetry in the webinars. We've talked about appliances. We've talked about a lot of different things. And I really appreciate you guys getting up early and joining me. Hopefully it's been beneficial for you. Just to give you an update on the state of the kitchen industry, everything is still very white hot. People now are, all the pent up demand, people are now starting to come out of the woodwork. And I've been telling people, if you're planning on a kitchen this year, that you've really got to scramble, because getting a contractor, finding appliances. I even got a notice from my cabinet supplier that some of the accessories are going to be hard to find, you know, to fill the cabinets, like what we're going to talk about today. So you really should jump on it. The update also is good news. I've got my shot. I'm getting my second shot in a couple weeks. And the reason I'm saying that is Nari is at this point planning on holding the show. So down at the convention center downtown, and they've asked me to be the feature speaker again. So I don't know if anybody is planning, has had their shots, or planning to go to a show or feel comfortable, but it is at this point happening. And it's a great idea center. It's a great place to get, you know, resources and, you know, and listen to me talk and things like that. And then I'm also available anytime for either design consultation, or if you're interested in having me look at your project. So that is a possibility also. And there is a kitchen class in May. So there's going to be a kitchen class. It's either going to be in person at right by Orange High School at the community center, or it will be online, and that is going to be dependent on Orange Board of Education. So I think that gets you caught up. Webinar series will pick back up in the fall next winter. And I think that takes care of everything. So let's get started. And naturally, you can ask questions as you go. If not, you can email me separately and we can go through then. So what we're going to do today in the webinar, okay, we're going to talk about kitchen, you know, build on, you know, last week's when we talked about the kitchen layout, or 2 weeks ago actually. We're going to understand the mise en place, understanding the importance of accessorizing, discover the base unit accessories, wall unit, tall unit, and miscellaneous. Now here's the thing. When I go through, and anybody's out there as an existing client, you know, you'll know that we sit down for an hour and a half to 2 hours and go through a PowerPoint with all the different accessories. You're going to be approaching two different sorts of individuals. You're either going to be approaching a salesperson that's going to say, okay, what do you want? Or you're going to be approaching a designer and they're going to guide you through everything. So it's very important to understand which one. So the more educated you can get and understand the accessories and how you can do that, the better you're going to be, and the better the end result's going to be. Okay, so let's talk about some of the base unit accessories. We'll start off with them. Okay, this is really a good one. The plate drawer. The plate drawer is very popular. It probably goes into about 90% of the kitchens that I do. Now, the only thing with this slide is, notice it's in the bottom drawer. I wouldn't put it in the bottom drawer. I would go and put it in the second drawer. When we talked about cabinet construction way back, remember we talked about walnut as a drawer box? Well, there's a good example of walnut. Really nice in a painted cabinet. What do you want to spend again? You know, because if you all of a sudden you do start doing walnut accessories, it starts adding up the price. But it's absolutely beautiful, as you see there. Okay. Cutting board. Cutting board, not as popular in cabinetry today. And the reason is because people just, a lot of the sinks, when you go shopping for plumbing on the sinks and that, And you saw that in the kitchen plumbing webinar. What the cutting board in a cabinet, these old removable cabinets, cutting boards and cabinets are really a thing of the past because a lot of the sinks today come with cutting boards that fit right in. Rollout shelves. We all want to have a nice rollout shelf system. You don't want to be reaching down into the cabinets. Now, one thing also, when you start designing and do the layout of the kitchen, how many drawers do you want versus how many rollouts? I like to do about 60 to 70% large drawers and about 30 to 40% rollouts. And the reason being is that when you have a rollout, you have a two motion system where you have to open the door and then you have to go in and do the rollout. With a drawer, it's just one motion. Now, the advantage to a rollout is they're adjustable, so you can adjust as you put different items in there. What do we do with spices? Okay, we have several options. The first would be a spice drawer, very popular. The only negative to that, it's a small negative, but you end up having to have all your spices the same size. Now, what people will do in a situation like this, they'll go and they'll refill, their apothecary jars. Another way we can handle spices, people love this. It's a pull-out spice where we can put the spices on the top. They even sell inserts, angled inserts, where the spices could be laying down. But the thing that's really nice about this also is, look at, you can put all your olive oils, your balsamic vinegars, all of that right in there. And it can all be handy in a little compact cabinet. Difference-wise, like when we start talking about these things, and again, what do you want to spend? A lot of these accessories are nickel and dime items. Like this comes plastic or wood. It's probably anywhere from 40 to 80 bucks. You do something like that in a cabinet, you're probably going to be 600 to 800, so it all depends. How do we handle corners? Here, this is called the Lazy Susan, and they come at different ways where you see here's the doors open left and right, and then the Susan spins. Some Susans the doors will actually be attached right onto the Susan shelf itself. If you're doing framed or inset cabinetry, then the doors can rotate and then you're not fighting doors. Magic Susan, look at this. So now you have a blind corner. How do you handle a blind corner? Well, you can pull out the door and that pulls those shelves, but notice what it's doing. It's also at the same time, anything that's in the back is being pulled forward. So that's really nice. Blind Charlie, this is probably adds around to that blind cabinet, that probably adds around 1,500 bucks. This probably adds around 500 bucks. This is the typical blind Charlie or blind Susan, where it's a half moon and it slides and pulls forward. Here's a real popular one that people love. This is called the Le Mans system. And what this does is it actually pulls and swivels and it maximizes the interior of the cabinet. So you notice that it's shaped so that it can clear coming out, things like that. So it's a nice system. So you have three nice systems with the blinds. Vegetable bins, get a lot of call for this. You want to go and have plastic vegetable bins where you can keep your potatoes, onions, things like that. Then you can go and scrub them periodically. Where do you put this stuff? If you have a walk-in pantry, that could be a nice option. But bread box, not as popular today because a lot of people, number one, aren't eating as much bread. Number two, this is not as effective. People are freezing their bread. And what's really nice too is that if you ever end up getting a European kitchen, what the Europeans will do, they'll make the bread box out of clay, which is really interesting because clay absorbs all the moisture. So it's a very effective. People I've seen over the years that have put a bread box in like this, they end up using it for crackers or candy, things like that. Charging drawer. We've ended up getting rid of the desk a lot of times. I very seldomly am I putting a desk in. And so what we're doing is now all of a sudden we're going to go and put in just a command center, as we've seen in past webinars. So here you can go and just put a charging drawer in, so you're not having cords all over all the time and things like that. We had talked about that when we designed that kitchen, where the client wanted to have a drawer for charging that pantry that was turned on its side. Anybody have the Keurig at home? There's usually storage found today for anything. So there's the storage for the Keurig, and you have a coffee center. I'm working on a kitchen right now where we have we're doing a breakfast center. And with that breakfast center, that we have spaces for all of these things. Here's something that's very popular with the Europeans. Not done as much anymore. This is an expensive unit. It's probably about $300 to $500, but it's utilizing the toe kick. Now, something the Europeans have done over the years, they have actually gone and put drawers down in the toe kick, so you can really, really maximize all that storage down there. Not done with the Americans. Europeans in the past have had 6-inch toe kicks. Americans have 4. So the height is a little more restricted, but really utilizing all the space. Cookie sheets, or trays, or muffin pans, or platters, depending on or a cutting board. So you need a spot to store your cutting boards and things like that. So here's a great spot to put it above ovens. Could be put down below. When I work with people, I start putting my hands together and start widening them out and say, okay, where do you think you want to be? I would say the average person with trays, and that probably wants anywhere from 15 to 18 inches for their trays and platters and things like that. But it can be down low, it could be anywhere. Appliance garages, not as popular today. With the onset of all these beautiful, like how many colors does KitchenAid have? Look at that beautiful anthracite color of that KitchenAid mixer there. So appliance garages come different ways. This is one of the more popular ones today, where the door actually flips up. They also have the old-fashioned tambour, which is not as popular today, or they have doors that would open left and right, and all will give you the same effect. Tilt down, very popular. Comes plastic, comes stainless. You can go and we can have it, tilt down. You have to be careful though, because some of you folks want these oversized sinks, and that's going to pull so far forward in that countertop that you would be restricted about that tilt down. And what I tell my clients is, it's such an inexpensive item. Let's order it and let's see where the cards fall when they go in template to put the sink in. Worst case, we take it out, but let's go ahead and get it ordered. So that's something. Trash units. We're going to have the choice. Do we do a single trash or do we recycle? Okay, if you do a single trash, you have a situation like this. You know where my most popular thing for a single trash is today? Because most people recycle. It is for dog food. Like, we'll put in an area, either in a pantry or back by the back door or somewhere, a nice pull out and keep the dog's food in there. And there's a recycling trash system. Now, there is something out there called, you notice that this one does not have any hardware on it. They have something out there today called Servomatic, where you actually can take your knee and just bump into it, and then it'll be spring loaded or electric. They come different ways. And then you can go and have your trash open. Knife drawer. This is a nice accessory. I do a lot of cooking. I personally would not want a knife drawer because I like to have a knife block on the countertop so I can do a quick gather and of the knife that I want and see it and just grab it. So you have the choice whether you want to go after and have some people say want everything off the countertops. Some people will go ahead and say, you know what, I'd like it on the countertop, but it's all there for you. Okay. You dividers for cooking utensils or cutlery, they have so many out there today. They have some that are adjustable that you can adjust according to what you want to put in there. So really nice. 2-tier, I'm not a fan of this. And the reason being, everything has to be flat on the bottom for that thing to slide open. And you can hardly put anything in the bottom one. So that's up to you guys to decide if that's something for you or not. But it's called a 2-tier cutlery divider. There's the adjustable ones I was talking about. where you can go, and it actually has slots that are drilled into the front and the back, and with pins, and you can go and adjust those how you want to do them, which is really nice. Now we're going into the Europeans. Europeans really excel because, you know, they traditionally have smaller spaces. So they really go in and do a great job. Here's a large drawer. You know, that drawer is probably almost 4 feet wide, and you can come up with combination systems. And there's a knife, there's utensils, all this different kind of things. And that black at the bottom is a non-slip mat. So nothing's going to slide around. Look at this organization. Okay, the canisters for your flour, your sugars, metal drawers, dividers. There's a non-slip mat again. Germans has an option if you want to use glass sides to the drawers, which is very popular. Here's an interesting one. Europeans, leave it up to them. This is a nice system where you can have a large drawer, and you can have, you see the front, there's a divider going along parallel to the front of the drawer. That can be for just a slot for all your lids. And then we go in and we can put, with those peg systems from underneath, we can go and put in those dividers where we want to put them. And then you see the pegs are all the holes are black. They're filled with little rubber nubs so that when you're not using them, it acts as a non-slip surface for your pots. The Europeans are so creative. Okay, another European system. That's actually a spice section over there, all those little pyramids where the spices lay in it without rolling, which is really nice. Mixer lift. Whoever has that heavy KitchenAid mixer, if you do a lot of baking, what a great opportunity. You have the plug in there and everything. There's another example of the walnut with the white, if you're intrigued by that. But that's a really nice feature if you do a lot of baking. You don't have to be curing. I know, because there's a lot of bakers in my family and that, and you know, lifting that KitchenAid mixer every time you want to use it, that thing's probably 25 to 35 pounds. There's the non-slip mats I was talking about. You know, you can get them. The Americans, they really don't offer them. You just get sheets and you can cut them. The Europeans, they can come fitted into your cabinet. Okay, let's jump to wall cabinets. That same pull-out spice system now can be at eye level. I usually do that around built-in hoods and things like that. Or we keep it simple, keep the cost down, and just put a spice rack on a door. Floating shelves, very popular. I do a ton of these things, and do them either in strategic areas or non-strategic. If you want to look at a good example, I just put a picture up, a series of pictures on House on my website with a kitchen I just finished, and a white kitchen with gold, and they did a real nice job asking me to put floating shelves throughout, so you can get a good example of floating shelves if you go to my website or go to my House account. Glass doors. Put glass doors in. We can put mullions on the glass. We could keep the glass just clear without the mullions. Here's a little trick. If you do go and order cabinetry, okay, with glass shelves and mullions, depends on the manufacturer. I would strongly suggest telling them do not drill for the shelves, because number one, if you do a white kitchen, you're going to see all those black holes. Number two, I would want my installer to drill those holes exactly where the mullions are in this picture, like that, so that you're not seeing, you know, the shelves are not interfering with the aesthetics of the mullions. Probably the most popular way people are doing glass today, where you're having a beautiful glass up on top and light it. Really nice. That's probably the most popular with glass. Wine racks, different types of wine racks. This is one of the more popular ones today, a nice transitional look. Tall unit accessories. The pull-out pantry, again, taking off on that concept of the pull-out base unit for spices. This is nice, a nice pull-out for the tall units. Chef's pantry. You might look and say, well, now there's a really terrific best use of space. This is one of my least favorite things. First of all, it's very expensive. But second of all, just to have everything swing, you're losing a lot of space. Like if I were going to go to a tall unit and really want to do it properly, in my opinion, I would put just nice adjustable shelves in there. What do you do with your brooms? I always have a spot for brooms, whether it be, broom closet or something, or you can put a partition in a pantry and slot it for your brooms and even a vacuum if you want to do that. There's the pantry with the rollouts I was talking about. And just some miscellaneous accessories to finish it off. Light systems and rod. Look at, this is really interesting with the Europeans. Look at that rod system where we can go and we can have even the rods backlit with LED lighting. But now you could put that around your kitchen and your knife block would just clip on, clip off, paper towels. You can have hooks for your cooking utensils, cookbook holders, shelves to put your canisters. Really, really nice in a European system. Pull-out ironing board. If anybody has a kitchen where they, get up and they want to get something ironed quick, usually goes into a laundry room, but I've done them in kitchens before too. File drawers. You get rid of that desk again, and we have that command center, a desk with or a command center with a drawer that has files is really, really will assist well in the organizing of the space. Do we put a TV in the kitchen? It's a big question. And then if we do we put it on retractable doors to hide it? Things like that. So something to think about. Open shelving. Not necessarily the floating shelving, but do we want any open shelving in the kitchen? They even have them, these are actually metal, very thin powder coated metal with the LED lights built right into the metal. Really, really attractive. I have them in the studio here. There's a dog command center. There's the trash I was talking about in the dog food in that pull-out trash. You can have a pull-out drawer system for the bowls. Here's a popular one. No more dustpans. So what you do is you do all your sweeping and then you take it up there and you hit a button with your toe and a little vacuum system happens and it sucks it in and then it has it like a vacuum bag and you replace the bag periodically. And that can be put into anywhere in a toe kick or the side of a cabinet. Okay, that brings us to the end. If there's no questions, I'll wait for a second, see if there's any questions. But again, thank you guys so much for all your support through these webinars. And hopefully we've turned a corner on this pandemic and we're going to get out and start talking to each other in person and things like that. If you're interested in this design guide, I think most of you have it, but let me know. Maybe then I'll see you guys at the show or at the class in May, or give me a call and we will turn around the doubleheader in about a half hour and talk about home offices. Okay, I don't see any questions, so go out and enjoy the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.